Good morning, everyone. I'm Melissa Collins Porter. I'm the producer of Aging Out, which is a documentary that doesn't yet exist. What you'll see today is what we're calling the long trailer. I'll get back to that in a minute. But first of all, I wanted to thank Jill and all of the lovely and amazing women who allowed us to interview them and helped to give some structure to our film. Really educated me about a lot of the issues and about a lot of the solutions that are starting to take shape. So I want to thank them for that. I am an associate faculty member of film studies at Maricosta College in Oceanside, California. That has been my part-time job. My other full-time job is that I'm a mom to two kids, a 13-year-old neurotypical girl and a 15-year-old boy with autism. Like many of us here, ever since it became clear to me that autism was real for my son and it was not something he was going to be magically cured of or grow out of, I began to feel that panic that Jill spoke of a few minutes ago. I began to be scared as to what would happen for him in the future. How would he make a living? Where would he live? Who would help him put on his clothes and bathe and go to school and get transportation and further education? Everything that we hope for our typical children becomes very, very problematic for those with ASD. I also, as a film studies professor and just a big fan of film, I had always loved social issue documentaries. That's what, in my abundant spare time, that's what I like to watch. And it had always been a dream of mine to make a documentary. So all of these things kind of coalesced about a year ago when I had the opportunity to apply for a grant, which I didn't get, but did a Kickstarter and raised $10,000 for the trailer that you're going to see today. What happened with that Kickstarter is not just that I raised money, but the outpouring of support from the autism community. And by the way, that $10,000 was raised almost exclusively from the autism community. Single mothers giving $10, $15, single mothers with two autistic children, you'll actually see her in the video. And people telling me, I am so glad you're telling this story because it needs to be told. In the research phase of this film and in the shooting that we've done, I've met so many families who have stories that nobody knows about, and I think that a lot of people maybe don't want to know about. I have noticed, I also was a communications major as an undergrad, and I'm always noticing how the media depicts certain issues, and it seems to me that the media has depicted autism as a childhood disorder, and likes to show us stories about cute autistic kids, and there's nothing wrong with this, but it's primarily cute autistic kids who are playing the piano with Katy Perry, or singing the national anthem, or making basket after basket, which is great, but that's not my kid, and that's not any of the kids of any of the families that I know and have come to know and talk to all the time. As Jill just showed us, and as we all know, that's why we're here, the numbers keep getting bigger. And there is not an awareness out in the general public of what we are facing as a community where we need to incorporate and support large numbers of autistic adults. The picture that you'll see in the trailer is pretty grim, and that's intentional. But what we hope to do with the larger film, and that means raising more money, what we hope to do with the larger film is show the hope that's out there, show a community coming together to come up with a lot of the innovative ideas and programs that I know we're going to hear about here today, because I've already been hearing about them in Southern California as well. So I invite you now to take a look at this trailer. I am looking for financial support. I put a clipboard in the back of the room, a purple clipboard, where you can sign up on my email list to learn more about the upcoming film and possibly contribute or help out in some way. So please take a look at the trailer, and I will speak with some of you later. Thank you.
Aging out is a term used in the special needs community to refer to that time period when a child, or at this point a young adult, ages out of the school system and into the system of adult care. For an autistic adult aging out in California, it's pretty much a catastrophe. So falling off the cliff is a term that's more often used than just aging out.
Parents, from the time they get the diagnosis, they pretty much start worrying. What will happen to my child if something happens to me? Who will take care of my child the way I have? They need, 24 hours, 7 care, and that's exhausting.
You know what? You need to focus on eating right now, okay? He's 16 now, and, I still feel like I have a 7-year-old in my house. He would like to live in an apartment, he says, with roommates. He definitely would like to have a job.
It's really hard to watch someone you love so much and you want to give them everything they deserve, but they're different and they don't always get what they deserve.
When he doesn't have the school, I'm not really sure, and that's frightening in a lot of ways, like what it's going to look like.
The autism explosion is the biggest public health crisis facing the state of California and probably facing the entire country today. The Department of Developmental Services had about 3,000 cases of autism in the early 1980s. I just checked their online statistics today. It's now 79,000 autism cases. Very few of those are because of changing awareness or broadening diagnosis. Most of that is because we actually have an explosion of neurodevelopmental disability in the state that we never had before.
In order to be successful, you need support, and the place where people go for support, the way the system is built today, is the regional center, and they are underfunded. Their caseloads are just outrageous.
I currently have 91 cases on my caseload. So when I think about it, with my number at 91, that's 91 people that are on my mind constantly. It starts to hurt your spirit just a little bit because, you can't spread yourself, across that many families, that many people.
Are we doing anything to cultivate the autism care workers that will be needed for these adults? We're not doing anything.
I'm a mother of 2 teenagers on the spectrum. Zen, my son, is 15 and a half. Zen goes to a school that is specifically for children with special needs because he's nonverbal. He has a person attached with him all the time. Zen, unfortunately, as far as his toileting abilities are concerned, regressed. So he's still in diapers. And he still has very limited things that he does. He will be on his iPad watching the songs, the movies that he likes to watch. Or he'll eat, and then the third thing is tearing paper, and the fourth is maybe jumping around. These are all the activities that he has.
And of course, the big elephant in the room is the cost and the complexity. It is enormously expensive to provide 24/7 lifetime care for somebody with autism.
Every month we're getting hundreds of cases that are coming in. Financially, for the state, that means we need to come up with an action plan.
There's no funding to handle the cost of doing business. Many of the providers are mom and pop shops who have a passion and want to serve this community, but they don't have the capacity to weather these kinds of storms. They just can't.
To keep my program open, I have to fundraise and raise at least $300,000 every year.
Howdy, partner. Howdy, Judy.
Minna is 19 and a half. Right now, I do everything for her. I make her food and I give it to her. I have to tell her to eat it as well. And she likes to sort of shut herself in her room. She likes to sing. I've asked her what she would sort of like to be or do when she's an adult. Her response has that she would just like to do YMCA.
Moving on like this. YMCA.
They're like little babies who are in sort of big bodies now because they look like regular teenagers, but their needs are that of little children.
Please wear your shoes. Lina, wear your shoes. Lina.
So you do need that support, those services, and if they're not there, I think a lot of parents would have a lot of problem.
I talk almost every day with autism families. People are absolutely terrified for their children. They're panicked about their futures because they don't see hope. They don't see a place for their children. They don't see security and safety for their children. And we have to change that. What we're doing right now is immoral. Ignoring the autism epidemic is immoral.
A lot of the families in our family support program have told me that the worry of no one caring for their special needs loved one after they leave this world is to, now I take control and I'll just kill him and kill myself. And that I've heard that at least 5 times.
People like Anna and me who talk to these families all the time are in a state of quiet despair, sometimes not so quiet, and that's real.